employee engagement can actually affect the turnover rate in our organizations. That's what we're going to talk about in this video. So let's talk about that. That's a huge topic, and people have been studying engagement for a long time. Gallup's been doing surveys since the early 2000s, and its engagement is about 30%. That's where it's hovering for the last 20 years. That's a pretty bad number. So there's a lot of focus on engagement and why, when we have low engagement, we have higher turnover. What are some things we can do to actually impact that, to turn the engagement level up? How can we get that to go in a positive direction? So we first need to talk about the employee. Why are they leaving? Why is the engagement low? It's because they don't trust their leadership. They don't align with what's going on. They don't trust that their leaders have the right mindset and the right focus. That's a lot of the big reasons why people leave, because they don't trust and they don't align with where the leadership's going. Sometimes the leadership is so focused on short-term gains, they actually sacrifice the long-term benefit of the organization. And, employees will see that and say, you know what? I'm not going to be here long-term if this is how it's going to be. So they leave. They go start looking for other jobs. The engagement actually starts going down, and they start looking for greener pastures. And gotta say, sometimes the grass isn't greener on the other side of the fence. Even though we're looking at a new opportunity and all inspired, but we need to be focused in on how we can keep those people, because that turnover rate, if we have high turnover rate, that is why our organizations are actually running slower. They're constantly on a merry-go-round of coming in and going out and not getting anywhere. The organizations are not moving forward because they're constantly trying to retrain new people, hire new people, onboard them, which drives costs up. So when we don't have trust in our leadership, or trust in general, costs go up, speed goes down, and profits tank. And that's where a lot of leaders really need to have a good look in the mirror to see what they can do to drive higher levels of trust from the leadership team. The other aspect is that the people don't think that the leadership team cares. That's right. They don't think that they feel valued by the leadership. And sometimes that can be a mistake just on the employee, but a lot of times it's the leadership that's doing that. Whether they're sitting on their thrones, never coming down, doing temperature checks throughout the organization, or having conversations with people, letting people know that they're valued. Maybe they do quarterly, just here's how our business is doing kind of things, and not really checking in on the people and thinking, well, HR will handle that. Well, when we sit in our thrones and we don't get out and talk to people, there's no value placed on the people. And when people don't feel valued, they look for other areas that they can feel valued. That's why we have a lot of turnover as well. Two other areas, lack of communication, right? There's lots of areas where we can improve on our leadership ability, and one of them is communication. We need to be able to communicate better with our employees. And just shooting out emails is not the way to do that. We need to have sit-down lunches with people. I mean, I've seen some leaders actually sit down with new employees and say, how can I be a better leader to you? What are some areas? And they have little chats and panels and stuff with leadership teams. Those are great ways to drive communication with the people. And then you get to get the temperature check of what's going on. The other area is some people just come into a job and they forget that there's going to be 30 to 90 days of just pain, of learning the new processes, the new systems, who to contact. We need to focus in on getting them in relationship with other people that can guide them and point them in the right directions, including the managers and the leadership team. But we also need to get them on some mentors and plugged into the organization so that way they can feel like they're a part of a team, not just a cog in a wheel, but actually a part of the team. So we need to build up those relationships. We need to have about 90-day focus on getting those people plugged in and making them feel like they're a part of something bigger and that we're moving forward. Not just that the leadership says we're going off and we're going to do this great thing, but that they can feel a part in the value by plugging them in with relationship. People live on relationships. When they don't have relationships and they feel isolated, they start dying. So we need to get those relationships happening from leadership and from other people in the organization if we're going to thrive. Now, if you have any questions about this, feel free to reach out. My contact information is below. If this video is helpful, hit like, share, subscribe, send to somebody you think it might benefit. That's why I do these videos, to help you. We'll see you next time.